What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, and we finna get ready. We finna get ready to get started with a new report. Welcome, and we're gonna have a good time. So here we go. TLR is on your screen. Good evening, Titan Nation. How is everybody? Good evening, Titan Nation. How is everybody? What's going on, everybody? Football fans everywhere. I appreciate y'all being here with us, and welcome in to the Truth League Report. And how's everybody doing? I apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning, but we're going to go ahead and get the show going. My name is Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer, and as y'all can see, I am a Tennessee Titans fan, but we are going to be talking about as I branch out and start talking about other teams around the league, try to bring more of you in that's around the NFL and we're going to have some fun on this show. So today's show, we are going to be reviewing, I know it's a little late because I know this happened about a month ago, but we're going to be reviewing the AFC North, the draft, and the schedules that have come out for this upcoming 2021 season. And so we're going to run through it, talk a little bit about the schedules and the drafts, and make sure in the comments section, you give your thoughts on your particular team's draft and also your team's schedule. What did you think? Is it really difficult? Do you think you have a good shot? And some things like that. So that's what we're going to go into. Also, at the bottom of your screen, make sure you follow me on Facebook at TNT Enforcers. Also on Instagram at Titans_N_truth, and on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. And if you try to join the pages, I know it's more Titan centric, but just you can send me a little message saying, "Hey, I saw Truth League Report, trying to join your page." You do that, I'll make sure I add you in, so that way you get more things going on. You get updates of things that are going on as well. So I welcome in all the AFC North fans into this show, and I have a special guest on as well. He represents the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to bring in my guy Bob, a.k.a. Ravens RedZone, into the show. So, Raven, Mr. RedZone, welcome in. How's it going?
Ravens RedZone is here.
All right. Well, we were talking before. We know that on everything, the Titans and Ravens, we're rivals a little bit. We're rivals, but it's a good rivalry. Has a lot of history, that goes back with Eddie George and Ray Lewis, all those times. So before we really get into the draft review and the schedules, what are some of your best memories of Titan-Raven matchups from the past?
Oh, you're not going to like this one. Eddie George walking off the field. Eddie George scared of the Ravens defense.
I kind of figured you were going to bring that up. And I'm glad you did bring that up, because I go back the other way a few years later where Eddie George kind of gets his revenge, slamming Ray Lewis to the ground. But I think that's where the respect really grew between those two gentlemen, and it is a respect that I think has lasted for a very long time.
Now, the other memory I will remember is that playoff game when we won the Super Bowl. And when we won that game, to me, the Ravens were the Super Bowl champions, because your team was the best team that year. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care who we were going to play in the NFC, because none of them were going to win it. So to me, and I knew the Raiders weren't going to beat the Ravens. I said, if we can beat the Titans, we won the Super Bowl. So to me, that was the Super Bowl. And when Ray Lewis just wiped that ball away from, I think it was Eddie George, And
I mean,
game was
so
over. We won. To me, we won the Super Bowl. Even though everyone was saying, "Well, the Raiders will beat us," or "What the Giants will beat us," like, yeah, right. They're not going to beat this defense.
yeah, and I will probably say one of my more painful memories of that would be 2008 playoff game because everything that could go wrong for us in that game absolutely did. I mean, Chris Johnson goes out with an injury. Algie Crumpler fumbles. There's the missed delay of game in the end zone that happened. I mean, a lot of things went wrong in that particular game that cost us the game. And once again, we were in the same position where we're the top seed and we ended up falling. So that was a very depressing turn
Hey,
of events
you
for
got the
us.
you got the payback. What was it? 2 years ago. We're the best
That we
team in
did.
football, and you came in. You just beat the crap out of us.
Now that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun without a doubt. I absolutely enjoyed that particular game, but I mean, it's been a lot of great rivalries, great games between the Ravens and the Titans in the past. I respect it. I respect the rivalry and everything that this rivalry has been. Love it, and we're gonna keep going
What?
with it.
One last thing before we go on. I remember the thing I really remember about that game is it wasn't just Henry just running over the Ravens defensive line, if they want to call it that. It was like we're ready for him and we're going to go after him, and then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you throw Tannehill throws a pass to a guy who never caught a ball in the season. Got a touchdown out of it. It's like,
ah, yeah. I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean that game was one that I don't think anybody in the world had us winning that game at all. Period. Everybody bet against us, and on the NFL gameplay, they were talking about, well, Titans, you took care of New England. You ended that dynasty. Thank you for your time. You're no longer required. Let the real teams. And I think they kind of ticked us off a little bit. And then, Earl Thomas talking trash and things like that. So I think we had a point to make in that one. But in the end, last year didn't exactly go our way either. But again, some more fun games that we've talked about in the history of the Titans and the Ravens.
right.
So now that we're getting into the AFC North, we're again reviewing the AFC North, some of the drafts, some of the schedules, getting thoughts on this. We're going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. And first, in their draft, of course, they had a big first round. They gained another first round draft pick when they traded Orlando Brown away to the Kansas City Chiefs. They draft Rashad Bateman at 27. Then they draft outside linebacker Jason Oweh at 31. In the third round, you draft Ben Cleveland, a guard, I believe, out of Georgia. And round 4, you draft another receiver that I really, really like in Tylan Wallace at 131. Cornerback Sean Wade from Ohio State in the 5th round, along with defensive end Dalen Hayes, and also fullback Ben Mason at 184. So what was your initial thought on the Ravens draft as you saw? I know you said you're not the biggest draft guru, and that's understood, but what was your thoughts on the Ravens draft picks as they were? 'Cause they historically draft very well.
Right. Well, the one thing they don't do well is wide receivers, and I think like most of the Raven fans, they're a little worried with Bateman because will he work out? The Ravens are not historically great at the draft, and they just realized that Brown is really a slot receiver, and that's probably what he's going to end up being this season. And we'll see. I hope he is everything that all the experts say he is, because our best receiver was Derek Mason, really the last couple of years. That's pretty much it. So the Ravens The other guy, if he works out, we got a young pass rusher who's going to make life miserable for the AFC North quarterbacks, and I hope that's true. I know he doesn't really have a recorded sack in college. I was told that by my nephew, of all people.
Right.
and like I said, they're going with potential. Now, Ben Cleveland, oh man, that's a big man. Because I saw a picture of him and his girlfriend. Oh, God. She looked like a little dwarf.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that would be definitely something. So, I mean, I definitely did like a lot of what the Ravens did. I mean, again, with Bateman and Tylan Wallace, I like both of those guys on the outside. And then that makes Marquise Brown, I think, a whole lot more dangerous coming out of the slot. And I mean, you still have Mark Andrews at tight end, who is a very, very good tight end. And Cleveland could come in and play on the offensive line. You got Villanueva, of course, that you got from Pittsburgh at your tackle position to replace Orlando Brown. So this could shape up to be very well. Again, it'll definitely, at the end of the day, be in the hands of Lamar Jackson. What is he going to do with these weapons? Is it going to be successful or not is definitely the question. And I know with Jason Oweh, the defense kind of took a small step back, of course, for Matthew Judon being gone to New England, and Yannick Ngakoue gone to the Raiders and everything. So how did you think the offseason and the draft helps the Ravens defense as far as what John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta have done for that defensive side of the ball with some of the losses that they had?
Right now, it looks like all with the draft picks for the defense, it looks more like it's just potential. So they're going to have to work something in free agency, which they haven't done yet. But there's still plenty of players still there. So I generally have trust in them when it comes to that. But right now, they need a pass rusher just for the fact you got to pressure the quarterback. That's what you have to do since the league has gotten so quarterback centric that you need somebody to make life miserable for him. So I don't know. They're not going to go with the rookie at the beginning of the year. So they're going to get somebody. I'm pretty sure. I have confidence in the front office.
I would agree. They would need to do some more, definitely, because I mean, you have Brandon Williams up front. That's a big dude,
Right.
And you got your secondary, of course, with Marcus Peters back there, along with. You still got Earl Thomas. You got Marcus Peters, and you have some
Earl
very
Thomas
good.
is gone.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Again, everybody. Not the biggest expert on other teams. I'm still learning.
That's okay.
I'm still learning. So that's what this is for. This is what this exercise is about.
It's Marlon Humphrey is probably what you're thinking.
Marlon Humphrey. Thank you.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly what I was mentioning. But I like those
As
two
I like
guys
to say
together.
to the Steelers fans, the best cornerback in the league.
I know many Steelers fans are not going to like that. I definitely agree. So, with that, so in the end, what would you give the grade of? What would you give a grade for the Ravens for what they've done as far as in free agency and the draft? What if you could give a grade for the Ravens and what they've done, what would you say for that?
I probably would do B because they haven't done much on defense yet. But on offense, they've done very well. The one person that they got from the Giants, Kevin Zeiker, I hope I said his last name right. I wanted to get him as a trade during the middle of the season because I like him. I like the veteran leadership. I think we've lost that when what's his name? Yanda retired. And they needed that veteran inside that middle as the guard. And they got that now again. And he'll be able to help that offensive line out. Even though he's older, but I like the leadership with him.
Absolutely.
So that right there helps a lot. And also they got the Steeler guy. I'm horrible with people's names.
Villanueva.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting him. Like I said, they've done a great job with fixing the offensive line, which to me, that's important. But like I said, they need something. They need another pass rusher. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to say B for now, but that could change by the time training camp comes.
I definitely can agree with that. So now we're gonna go into the schedule of the Baltimore Ravens, and for everybody, that's gonna be at the bottom of your screen on the ticker scrolling through. And so you have starting off week 1, Monday Night Football to begin the year. You're in Las Vegas, that new stadium, Vegas. You got the Raiders on Monday night. Fans will be back in. So, Vegas, Sin City, the city that never sleeps. That's going to be exciting. Week 2, you come back Sunday Night Football with Kansas City, and I know that's going to be a fun game in Baltimore for that. Week 3, you're at Detroit. Week 4, you got the Broncos. You're in Mile High. Week 5, you got the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football at home. Week 6, you got the Los Angeles Chargers at home. And you got a stretch of 3 in a row. Week 7 against Cincinnati. 3 straight home games for the Baltimore Ravens. And then week 8 is your bye week. Week 9, you have the Minnesota Vikings at home. Week 10 at Miami for Thursday Night Football. That's going to be an interesting game. Week 11, you got Justin Fields and the Bears at Soldier Field. Week 12, Sunday Night Football. Browns and Ravens in Baltimore, and the Browns could be really, really good. Week 13 at Pittsburgh. Week 14 at Cleveland. So you have that stretch of 2 out of 3 games against the Browns. Week 15, home against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, although he may not be on that team anymore. At Cincinnati, week 16, home with the Rams, week 17, and home against Pittsburgh, week 18. So when this schedule came out to you, Mr. Red Zone, what were your initial thoughts on this schedule? What was, I would say, your toughest stretch that you think, or what was you thinking of the schedule when it first came out?
Well, my first thing I check is when is the bye, and to me the bye is just perfect, middle of the season. So for me that's good. The other thing I've seen is we're playing Browns, Steelers, Browns, and while we're playing the Steelers, the Browns have the bye.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be coming in. We'll be playing the Browns off the bye at their place in a prime. No, it's not a primetime game. Okay, the other one's the primetime. Okay, so but either way, that right there could decide the division right there. Those 3 weeks.
That's true.
So that right there, and then after that, we have to play the Packers. That's if Aaron Rodgers is still there. Then that's tough. But then again, I think we'll end up playing Aaron Rodgers no matter what, because the rumor is he's supposed to either go to the Raiders or to the Broncos. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is something that I've heard about with Aaron Rodgers, is that it could be interesting if he goes out that way, and not somebody that could be in your division. I don't think any teams in the AFC North would be looking at Aaron Rodgers. So, you're probably hoping not to play him when he's with Green Bay. So that will probably be something very beneficial. But that is something that I'm also, again, learning with schedules, is that, seeing when your bye week is, also where other teams are, when they're coming off of their bye. Are you playing them around somebody's bye, or if you're playing them after a Thursday night game or something like that, where they have a little mini bye or anything? So that is something that you also have to take into account, or if a team is coming off of a short week and things like that. So that's a lot that you have to play on that. But I would say with the Ravens, definitely that Cleveland 3, that is a interesting stretch, because that we've had to deal with that before. I believe we dealt with that twice last year. We had to do Indy twice in 3 weeks. Then we had to do Houston twice. I want to say we had to do Houston twice in 3 weeks, or that might have been the year before. But I know we've dealt with that in the past, and that's something that a lot of fans don't look forward to, because it's like you have that, and it's like, who has the advantage in that particular situation. But with this Ravens schedule, I'll just say right now, off the top of your head, yes or no, do you see 10 wins for the Baltimore Ravens?
Yes. Yeah.
I
I
like
see
that.
10 wins. I see maybe a little bit more than that, but I see definitely 10 wins.
Okay. And so I'll say this. Best game you look give me your top 3 best games you're looking forward to.
Well, two of them are already Steelers. It's always a joy to play the Steelers and see their fans cry in their stupid yellow towels. Although we couldn't do that last year. They had a
Wow.
virus to thank, but they couldn't do it. We couldn't do it last year. The other one is Cleveland, since everyone is hyping Cleveland. So that
Mm-hmm.
3 game straight, I am looking forward to. I know it's tough. I know it's going to be. It could decide the division, but there's the games you're looking forward to. I want to see if Cleveland is everything that the media is hyping them up to be. Because there's one thing about Cleveland I don't buy yet. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would
Now
be
keep
Baker
going. Keep
Mayfield.
going.
That would be Baker Mayfield. I
Yeah.
don't buy him. I feel none of the 31 defenses that he would go up against are afraid of him. I don't. I think he is there not to lose a game instead of to win a game. All you have to do is just look at the playoff game against the Chiefs. They had
Mm-hmm.
them beat. They got rid of Patrick Mahomes. They had the ball with 5 minutes left, and they did nothing. And they end up
Yeah.
losing to a backup quarterback who's, what the biggest job of a backup quarterback is? Get the beer for the party.
Yep. All you have to do is just hold firm. You don't really have to do anything. Just if you got a lead or something like that, you hold it. That's basically
Right.
all that a backup quarterback has to do. And so you're
And he
right.
did his job.
Yeah, you're right. I
Right.
mean,
But the thing
you
is,
know,
they had the ball first after he was out.
yeah.
When you found out that he wasn't coming back. And they had still 5 minutes and they couldn't do a thing. And like I said, that's because Baker Mayfield, he's not he hasn't shown to me that he can win a game when it really matters. Lamar Jackson has done it. Just ask those Cleveland fans. He's in the bathroom eating Cleveland nasty food. Don't do that again, Lamar. And he comes out of that bathroom and he comes back and we win the game. Okay?
Ah,
You,
this is
you remember
beautiful.
that game, Monday Night Football. I'm
I
sure.
do remember that.
Right. So,
I do remember that. Because I remember what I was doing. I was with my wife. We were picking up some food, and that the game was on at the restaurant that we were going to, and I was picking up some food, and I was watching. I said, "Man, that is one heck of a football game." I mean, it's going back and forth. It is a fun game, and so seeing Lamar going off, then coming back on, it was a heck of a football game. And Cleveland does have to show if they are the real deal or if they're just pretenders. That's something that they definitely have to show, is that they could do that. So I like that. I would say the Baltimore Kansas City matchup week 2, I'm definitely gonna have my eyes on that one.
right.
I mean, because if the Titans are gonna make it to a Super Bowl, that's gonna be where those two teams are the measuring sticks. We've had our issues with the Ravens in the past, and we still have our issues with the Chiefs also. So I mean, we have to beat those two teams and Buffalo if we're gonna make it to a Super Bowl. We have to do that. So I like that game. I'm interested to see what happens with the Rams, because the Rams late in the year, they could be making a push for the NFC West division, and they're loaded. They have Matt Stafford. They have a good quarterback. That could be a good matchup there. And I'm going to say that Miami game, Baltimore and Miami, I think it could be two pretty nice defenses going at it. Is it going to be Tua in there, or what are they going to do with the quarterback as far as that concerned? I would like to see Lamar and Tua go at it. And, Lamar has weapons. Tua has weapons. That might be a fun game as well, because Miami, they're heated because they just missed the playoffs last year. So I like those games.
Okay. Another game that I would look forward to, I want to see, is the opening game, because I want to know, is that going to be really having a lot of Raider fans, or is it just going to be fan bases who get a ticket and they say, I'm going to Vegas for a 3 or 4 day weekend and just enjoy myself and go to the game to see if that's going to be, it's going to have a lot of Raven fans there, even though it's Raiders' hometown. And that's probably true of the other home games too. I don't know if you guys play the Raiders this year.
Do not play the Raiders this year. No,
Okay.
because if it was in Vegas, I sure would consider going.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what a lot of people would consider that. And I think, I got an uncle that lives there. He retired in Vegas, and him and his wife. And I'll be asking him if he can somehow scrounge two tickets to see if he can get there.
That would be.
I just want to see how much of a home field advantage it is for the Raiders.
I would agree with that because, that would be, going to see a game with the Raiders, that would be really it would be more, like you said, it would be more so about going to Vegas than necessarily seeing the Raiders more so. So I just think that would be, incredible right there. So, but let's move on to some of the other teams in the AFC North. And now we're going to talk about the team that you probably really can't stand more than Pittsburgh, and that's them darn Cleveland Browns. I don't really like the Browns either because they whooped us. They whooped us pretty good, and even though we had a chance to come back,
they
in
almost
that game,
lost that lead. Remember that?
We nearly came back. We nearly came back in that game with the Browns, and it was just the fact that we got just flat out smacked in the mouth in that game. We really did. We got thoroughly outplayed from beginning to end on that, and we weren't prepared, and we should have been. And I did not like how that game went at all. It ticked me off. So
if I remember the game, they took out Derrick Henry real quick, and then they said to Tannehill, "You try to win it on your arm." So
yeah, that's true. That is exactly, I think that's exactly what happened with that, is that they were trying to say, hey, Tannehill, win this game. Henry's not a factor. Beat us. And we had our struggles. So, that was a very tough game. But Cleveland coming in, of course, they got, Jadeveon Clowney, Sheldon Richardson, and, they got some other guys on that defense. And now, of course, they add in the draft. They add Greg Newsome. They added Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the linebacker. They add a speedy wide receiver in Anthony Schwartz. They add a defensive tackle in Tommy Tojai. Also a tackle, James Hudson. Tommy Fields, a linebacker. They added a safety in Rashard LeCounte. And also Demetric Felton, a wide receiver out of UCLA. And besides their first two picks, well, actually, I like their first three picks with Newsome, JOK, and Anthony Schwartz. I like that. I think Felton is a nice addition to them. And also James Hudson at tackle. With those, I know you're really focused centric on the Ravens, but with Cleveland, did what they do in the draft, did they concern you at anything with what they were able to get?
No, look, they are doing a great job putting all the pieces together. Baker Mayfield has no excuses. Okay, he has no. He can't say I don't have the players, I don't have a defense to help me out. They are putting all the pieces around him. It is up to him. As I said earlier, I don't trust Baker Mayfield, and that's the one thing where I'll say. But like I said, if Baker Mayfield proves me wrong, then Cleveland could win this division. Yeah.
Wow, that Cleveland, and I think honestly enough, you already have a defense with Myles Garrett, and now you add Jadeveon Clowney on the other side as well. You got Denzel Ward coming back off of injury, along with now Greg Newsome, who I think could be very, very good. And we don't know what's going to happen with David Njoku as far as what can happen with, we don't know what's going to happen with him, if he's going to get traded or if he's going to end up being, still there with them. But in the end, I agree with you. It all comes down to Baker Mayfield. It all comes down to him. Can he lead this team to where they need to go? And that's going to be the $1 million question all the way out. Can they do that? And, you got Stefanski, who, won Coach of the Year, had a very impressive season. I liked what Stefanski did, and, was very impressive. But I'm not ready to believe in Cleveland right now. I'm not sure if I'm ready to believe in them yet. I mean, they made some strides, but they lost the game with Kansas City in the playoffs. Pittsburgh was worn down. They were injury-ridden at that time. Pittsburgh was a shell of themselves towards the end of the year. So that, I don't really count that. As
like
far
I
as
said, they had a chance to beat Kansas City. It probably should have been Buffalo versus Tampa Bay. But because I think Buffalo would have won next week.
Yeah.
Or at least I hope they do. Anyway, but like I said, I'm just not the believer in Baker Mayfield. And I know you're going to have those Cleveland fans on it. They're going to get mad at me saying, blah, 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 blah. Lamar isn't it. Yeah, Lamar has gone to your place and beat you. Now, shut up.
Oh man, just
coming out of the bathroom. Just remember
that. Just pouring fuel on the fire. Oh my goodness. I know there are some Cleveland fans that are fired up watching this now. And hey, Cleveland, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm just having some fun. We're just having a good time with this. But
now, one other thing with the schedule before we go on is with the Chiefs, I do think we need to beat them. Even though it's early in the year, we can survive losing to them with the second game of the season. But I said last year, to be the man, you have to beat the man, old Ric Flair type of thing. And, and they're the team to beat. That's where your team and every other AFC team, they're going to have to beat Kansas City. And they're revamping their offensive line. They saw what happened to them in the Super Bowl. So they got Orlando Brown. So we'll see if it works. We'll see what happens. They're going to have some salary cap trouble eventually because they signed the big contract. But right now, they are the team to beat. And to me, beating them is, to me, the same way as beating your team in last year's playoffs. We needed to get that over that hump. So.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Browns schedule, as we see here, the Browns schedule now is strolling on the ticker. They start off at Kansas City, then they're at home against Houston, then they are at home against Chicago before going to Minnesota, week 4. Week 5, they're at LA with the Rams, back home against Arizona, and then week 7, they have Denver at home, week 8, Pittsburgh at home. So they have a stretch of about 3 straight games at home as well. Week 9 at Cincinnati, and then week 10 at New England. Week 11, they're at home against Detroit. Week 12 at Ravens. Week 13 a bye, and then week 14 home against the Ravens. Week 15, you got the Raiders at home at Green Bay. Now that's going to be interesting, being in the cold out there. And then week 17 at Pittsburgh, week 18 at home against Cincinnati to close it out. What were your thoughts on the Brownies schedule as you see it? I know you mentioned, of course, the bye week in between Baltimore with that. So what were your initial thoughts with the Browns with their schedule? I see a couple things.
Those ending games could ruin them. They got to play us, and then they got to play Green Bay, and then they ended with 2 division rivals, even though it is the Bengals, but it's still a division rival.
Oh my goodness, my brother will not like hearing that at all. He's a big Bengals fan, so he will not like that at all.
Tell him my sympathies. My sympathies to him.
Hey, I will tell anybody, I do not understand how my brother, being around me as long as he has, knows that I'm one of the biggest Titan fans around. He picks the Bengals, but hey, I told him, I said, If you pick a team, and you stick with that team, no matter what. You win, lose, or draw, you stick with your team. If you love the Bengals, win or lose, you stick with them. But this Browns schedule, I agree. The beginning, they could have some advantages after Kansas City. They could,
Right.
get some wins with Chicago, with Houston, Minnesota, and everything to start the year. But I agree with you that Baltimore 2 and 3 weeks, that bye is going to could help them. But I agree with you with Green Bay and Pittsburgh, those 2 games before Cincinnati, that could be very, very telling as far as what will happen to them towards the end of the year. So I definitely agree with that. Again, like you said, it's going to be on Baker Mayfield. Is he going to produce? Is he going to be able to put it all together? And we're going to find out if we have the answer to that question. So we'll definitely see about that. So Browns fans, give me your comments. What did you think of the schedule? Games that you're looking forward to? What did you think of your draft? And what grade would you give them? I honestly would give the Browns a B. I would give them a B. I think they did pretty good in the draft. I give the Ravens, I would probably say, with what they've done, I have to give the Ravens maybe an A- because they stole a couple of guys the Titans could have had, as far as especially a wide receiver. And the reason I give that such a high grade, I again hold their front office in very high esteem, with DaCosta taking over for Ozzie Newsome. And we knew Ozzie Newsome always did a very good job draft-wise and everything.
Right.
Now, did he make some mistakes? Yes. But most of the time, Ravens drafted well, without a doubt, with Ozzie Newsome and
Right.
everything. So I definitely
Like I
agree.
said, that's where Ozzy was the weakest, was the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 2 receivers. Let's see what happens to them. You know,
Absolutely.
if everything goes like you're saying, that helps Brown out, and that makes him even better. And we got young receivers. We don't have to get a Julio Jones, or, as I said, the best receiver that the Ravens have had over the last couple of years is Derek Mason. That's a long time ago, actually.
Hey, a lot of people here in Tennessee remember Derek Mason very, very well. And, he did a lot of great things for the Tennessee Titans before he went to Baltimore. Although, I know there's probably going to be a defining argument between the Titans and the Ravens. I don't think Derek Mason, no, I take it back. Yes, he did. I believe he officially retired a Raven, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Which basically, it hurt my heart a little bit to see that. But I
Now,
understand he had a
Anquan
terrific
Bolt
career.
would be the other one too. I forgot, but I just remembered
Yep,
him.
that's true.
Right.
Anquan Bolden did play for the Ravens as well.
Right.
And I
Like I
definitely
said, we
was a
have to get a
fan.
free agent. We can't draft our own and develop one, because you get the cheap contract. Relatively speaking, I take the money, but
Hey, I would take the money too. I would take the money
I don't care if
too.
it's a cheap contract. You're paying me within 5 years $1 million a season. I'll take that.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think indeed. So now we're going to probably go to one of the more hated teams in your mind, and a team that I have some dislike but a lot of respect for. I have a lot of friends, especially here in the city of Memphis, who love this team, and that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as a lot of you will probably find out, Steeler fans, Memphis is a very huge Steelers city. I tell this to a
My
lot of people.
condolences.
I know. I know. It is very tough living here when you have, and I tell anybody this, it is 45% Cowboys, 45% Steelers, and 10% is everybody else, including the Titans, in that equation. The Cowboys and the Steelers seriously have a stranglehold on this city. And I'm hoping that if the Titans keep on winning, that maybe we can take some of that back, get rid of some of this Steeler Cowboy narrative that has been just engulfing and destroying this city for the last 20 to 30 years of my life that I can't get back. I'm hoping that is the case, but the Steelers are to be respected. They're one of the great franchises. I was talking with a friend last night, and it's amazing. Since 1969, only 3 head coaches since. And they've been around since the 30s. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's it. Those are the last 3 head coaches. Cleveland has probably had more than triple that. A lot of teams have had more than double those head coaches in that time frame. More than triple, maybe more than 4 times. But the Steelers historically have been a great franchise. Even though I know your Ravens, you got to respect them. Here's what they did in the draft. Najee Harris in round 1. They definitely needed a running back. Pat Freiermuth in round 2. They could use another tight end to go with Vance McDonald. Round 3, they got a guard in Kendrick Green. Round 4, got Dan Moore, a tackle, and also an inside linebacker, Buddy Johnson. Round 5, an interesting name, Isaiah Loudermilk, a defensive tackle. Round 6, Quincy Roche. And for any Titan fans that are listening, we definitely like Quincy Roche. I liked him a lot out of the Senior Bowl. I thought he was very impressive as a pass rusher, so I liked him. Round 7, Trey Norwood, a corner, and a punter, Presley Harvin III in the 7th round. So, and of course, they brought back Juju Smith-Schuster back to him. They lose James Conner, but get Najee Harris. And I believe their cornerback, Steve Nelson, I believe, is still on the market as well. Of course, the big name, Bud Dupree, is now wearing two-tone blue now. So, with the draft and free agency, what are your thoughts with Pittsburgh? Can TJ Watt might be able to duplicate, but now that Bud Dupree is now on the other side, could the Steeler defense be in a little trouble?
I think the Steelers are in trouble, period. Just judging by the last couple of games, even the game they beat us on that, they should have destroyed us because there was no starters in that game, really. Because all the starting offense had the virus, so they had to sit out. And I was ready for a blowout. I was ready for them to get destroyed, and they didn't. It took to really near the end of the game, and there's something wrong with that team if that's happening. To me, and then they started to slowly fall apart, and then they lose to the Bengals, which was so much fun to watch. They lost to their fourth. The worst part is they lost. They not only lost, they lost to the 4th-string quarterback.
Wow.
But look, one thing I'm really glad is that Juju is still on that team. Good, because we were trying to get him for some reason. I really don't want Juju because I think he hurts teams. I think he baits them on. I think that's the reason why they lost to Cincinnati when they had no business losing to Cincinnati, because he does that stuff on TikTok and he baits teams. Look, trash talking between you and me, that's okay. But if we're players, you got to keep your mouth shut sometimes, except maybe on the field. And just, because you're just giving him bulletin board and you're just like, you're saying, well, we're going to do something to you when we play you the next time and vice versa.
Yeah, because sometimes, I've learned this at an early age. Sometimes you got to just shut what they call the heck up.
Right.
You have to sometimes just shut up and play football. That's all you need to do. Just play ball. Don't be trying to fall into the social media and all that stuff because that's going to do you in the long run. So I definitely agree with that. I mean, Juju, I think, is a good player, a really, really good player. I just don't know if he'll ever become a great player, in my honest opinion. I really like him as a receiver. I do. But, there are some things that, he still has to work on. I really, Chase Claypool is really, really, really good.
I mean,
I like.
Juju likes to think he's the number one receiver. No, Claypool is your number one guy. I know it's only his second year, but he's really the number one receiver.
Exactly. I agree with that one big time. I like that. And, James Washington, the shifty wide receiver as well. I kind of like him
Right.
as well. But again, is this Ben's last year? That's what we're going to probably be knowing. And
I I want to know, is he going to fall apart like he did near the end of the season? I mean, he was like he had noodle arm. It's just like, is he going to start out fast and then fall apart near the end? I don't know. The thing is, every time I want to count the Steelers dead and be joyous about that, they do this Michael Myers thing and come back to life.
or Jason.
Right. That too. It just so I wouldn't be surprised. It's a three-way race. Everyone's saying it's going to be the Ravens and the Browns, but I would not be surprised if Pittsburgh is in there. But I will agree with the experts and say I do think Pittsburgh is going to be around 500.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it, of course. We're playing, we have to play Pittsburgh late in the year in Pittsburgh. That's going to be a very interesting matchup.
Right.
Hopefully, Pittsburgh is again down with their injuries and things like that. And defensively, of course, now that the Titans have Bud Dupree and it looks like he's on course to be ready to go for training camp. And I've seen some of his workout videos. He looked like he's ready. He could definitely improve our defense, but that makes me wonder, can TJ Watt duplicate what he did before? Is it solely because of Bud Dupree on the other side? I know they have Casey Hampton and they have Truitt and they have a very nice defensive line, but the question is, now a lot of attention is going to be on TJ Watt. Can he get 13, 14, 12, 13, 14 sacks again?
I think he
with
will.
the attention on him.
No, I think he will. In fact, in some ways, I think he's going to surpass his brother, where in being one of the best defensive players in the league. It's just he's the real deal and everything.
Yeah.
Your big worry, the big worry with the Steelers is that quarterback. I mean, they didn't draft a quarterback, and I'm wondering, you really going to rely on Mason Rudolph?
Exactly. That's something that I thought about, is that I was wondering if they would draft a quarterback, and I mean, would crazy as well? No, it's not going to happen. Let me not even think about it. Exactly. I'm not even going to put that thought out there because I'm like, it wouldn't make much sense. Even though it is a crazy thought. If Ben wasn't there, I could see it. But with Ben there, no. I'm not even. Yeah.
They're also they're in a little bit of sour crap pickle. In fact, Ben had to take a little less money. He had to restructure I think he took a little less money. Little less money being from $40 million to $20 million.
That's true. That is true. They did have to do that. So that is something there. But here is quickly the Steelers' schedule, as you see on the bottom. They start off at Buffalo. Then they go at home against the Raiders. We know Buffalo is good. Cincinnati at home. At Green Bay early on. So that might be a nice matchup. Big Ben versus Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers is still there. Then they're home against Denver and Seattle. Seattle will be Sunday Night Football. They get a bye at Week 7. Then Week 8 at Cleveland. And Week 9, Chicago for Monday Night Football at home. Detroit Week 10. Week 11 at the Rams for Sunday Night Football. Week 12 at Cincinnati. Then they have the first matchup with you, Week 13, at home against the Ravens. Then they have Minnesota on Thursday night. Then they are at home against my Tennessee Titans, which I think the Titans will win that game. Sorry, Steeler fans. Week 16, they go to Kansas City. So that's a tough stretch right there. Those last four with home against us, at Kansas City, Cleveland Monday Night Football at home, then at Baltimore to end the year. So that stretch of 4 or 5 games, I think could be tough for the Steelers at the end of the year. So, what are you thinking with the Steelers? I know you said earlier you're looking forward to the Steelers Ravens, both of those matchups.
Yeah, I'm looking for, and I'm looking at the schedule. I haven't changed my mind with that 500. I think they're really going to hurt at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Especially with an older quarterback who's not as good as he used to be. And you got to play us. Plus, you got to play. Let me see. You got to play Minnesota. They're okay. Tennessee. I think I said to you and you're laughing when you did your schedule vid. Uh, I like the fact that you got the week 13 off because that helps Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
That helps him up big time.
I
And
agree.
that right there, you could even if the Steelers' defensive line is still as good as it's going to be advertised. I think Derrick Henry could have some fun with them with
I
a big rest.
I like that. That is, and that's something that we'll quickly talk about. Is that yes, that game, we're going to be coming, off of. We're going to be coming off of a bye, going into that particular situation. So, that's going to be that's going to be a heck of a football game. I'm looking forward to that too. Titans and Steelers. I think that's going to be fun. Ravens Steelers has always been a grudge match. It has always been just a knock 'em out, drag out, sluggish fight. And the only thing about that is if it is a 3-team race, you got to hope the Browns are not anywhere in the conversation. Because if they are in the conversation, they are going to be praying that the Ravens and the Steelers just knock each other out. Just beat each other up, and they think they could maybe slither their way in and win the North. So that's something you got to be careful of with that situation. So, again, the North is going to be a bloodbath.
Right. It always is.
It's always a bloodbath. And
Now, the one thing I did notice with the Steelers schedule and with our two games, they're not on prime time.
That is interesting.
But maybe that's something the schedule maker's saying to the Steelers. They don't think they're going to be that good. But then again, they could always change it.
Mm-hmm.
They have that option for a Sunday night, so you never know. And they did put us the last game. And if it comes down to us and the Steelers in the last game of the season for the title, that's going to be on Sunday night. So
yeah, and that's why. And I was just going to mention that is that you have that capability of flexing again. Like the Titans and the Steelers. We're going to be late in the year. I'm hoping that gets flexed to Sunday night or gets flexed to like a Monday night because now they have that option too. This year is that you can flex games to Sunday night. You can even flex games to Monday night.
Oh, I like that.
So you can even flex games where they get an extra, and that could be advantageous because it could give a team an extra day to prepare. But it could be a disadvantage to a team who was already slated on Monday night. Now they got to play a day earlier than they were planning. So that, I'm like, wow. That is gonna be, that's gonna be something how, it's gonna be interesting to see how the league works that out in that particular aspect. But last but not least, before we end the show, we do have to talk about my brother's favorite team, and I know there are some out there, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, of course, had the number one pick in the draft last year with Joe Burrow, and they had a very porous offensive line, which don't know how we lost a game to Cincinnati, but we did. We did. Not exactly a performance by the Titans in that aspect, but Cincinnati comes back with some weapons. They start off at the 5th pick with Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow's old wide receiver comes back. They go with a tackle in round 2 with Jackson Carman from Clemson, which I think is an underrated good pick for them to help solidify their offensive line. Joseph Osai in round 3. I was going crazy for him. I wanted the Titans to possibly take a look at drafting him because I think he's a very good pass rusher. Also got Cameron Sample in round 4, and Tyler Shelvin, the nose tackle from LSU. I liked both of those guys. Deontay Smith in round 4, I believe round 5, with Deontay Smith, a kicker, Evan McPherson. And I apologize, Bengal fans. Sample, Shelvin, and Smith were in the 4th round. So I made that mistake. Again, in the 5th round, they took a kicker. 6th round, they got Trey Hill at center, Chris Evans, the running back from Michigan, and defensive end Wyatt Hubert from Kansas State. So even though they really fixed the tackle spot and they could move Jonah Williams, I think Jonah Williams could end up on the other side. But I forgot, they got what's his name? I believe they got Riley Reef, I believe, as well at tackle. So they could move Jonah Williams inside or anything like that. They may see Carmen as a guard too. So that could be, forgive that sound in the back, everybody. My DVDs decide to want to fall. So forgive me for that. And, but I like what Cincinnati has done in the draft. I like what they did. What were your thoughts on what Cincinnati did? And yeah, give me just a brief second. You go right ahead, RedZone.
Okay, let me do something that I do on our broadcast when we talk about the Bengals. And my brother hates it. And since he's my brother, I'm going to do it anyway. I do this. Bengals, Bengals. Okay, I won't go too far with it since I'm visiting your house. But I love making fun of the Bengals. They are so incompetent. I still think I understand they wanted to get a receiver that Burrow is familiar with, that he played with in college. But you had one of the best tackles, like I said, in that you gave the Lions a gift by not getting him. I know you got yourself a tackle. If you don't fix that offensive line, Burrow's just going to go out just like he did last season. And I still don't trust you because I know your team is notoriously cheap and don't pay for You don't pay for players. And that's why I call you the Bungle. That's why I sing silly songs like Bungle Bungle and stuff like that.
Oh, they're not gonna like that.
The Bungle, but even the Bungle fans know that they don't like their owner. They know he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just Pop. When what's his face died, I forget his name at the moment, and that's
you talking about Paul Brown.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and his son doesn't know what he's doing. The rest of the family don't know what they're doing, and I still say they didn't solidify. They got a good. They may have gotten a good tackle in their 2nd round, but they could have gotten like one of the top 10 tackles, but they gave it to Detroit. So we'll see what happens with them. But look, I think Joe Burrow is good. I will say that. I think he could be the best quarterback in the AFC North. He has that potential. But if he has an offensive line, he doesn't have an offensive line. He's just going to run for his life. Especially with these defenses, especially with Ravens, Steelers, and Cleveland. You were talking about TJ Watt. Yeah, TJ Watt's going to get a lot of his sacks off of them if they don't fix their offensive line. So,
and that's I think that with Cincinnati, I think with them they could really go nowhere but up. But again, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a Bengals fan. Besides my brother. And I was we were talking about it. I said, I did do a few good things in the draft, but at the same time, your coach, Zach Taylor, I know he's young, he's inexperienced, but he's learning on the fly. He better be able to pick up some wins. Because if he don't pick up some wins, that's gonna be a major problem for you. And, he may not be able to hold on to his job because, Cincinnati fans ain't going to like it if you keep getting your quarterback killed. Right. You keep getting them killed, it's not going to look good for you. Protect that quarterback. And yes, again, I've kept picking Jamar Chase for that because I think that connection is instant between him and Joe Burrow. But I do understand where you're coming from. When they could have had Penei Sewell and solidified that offensive line, and you probably could have gotten a receiver later that was good because there were plenty. There were receivers plenty that you could have went with. Could have went with another guy on that second round, maybe in the second round, a guy like a Terrace Marshall, who Burrow is also familiar with. So that, is it's interesting how that went. So we'll definitely see. Again, I just think that the Bengals can go nowhere but up. But if Zach Taylor don't start getting some wins under his belt, some real wins under his belt, it could be some bad times for him ahead. He could end up on the hot seat very, very early. And, it would damage his confidence as a young head coach. And I just don't want to see that happen. Any coach wants an opportunity to prove that he can be good at what he does, because there's only one of 32 head coaching jobs there is. So it is an honor to get that particular opportunity. He better make the most of it, because if he don't, the Cincinnati fans are going to ask for him to get out, because they probably could have some better options. So that's that on that. And
like I said, I mean, if Burrow goes out early, I think he went out around week 10 last year. I can't remember. It was around that time. If that happens again, then they're just going to be easy to beat. Unless you're the Steelers who lose to their fourth string quarterback. Just want to the Steeler fans that.
Yeah, like I said, one of my best friends is like one of the biggest Steeler fans in the world, and love him to death. Shout out to my boy Philip Davison. The Steelers, could be easy pickings if they don't get it together, especially offensively protected Joe Burrow. I'm with you on that. That could be a major problem for them, going forward. And, we got to see if Jonah Williams, Riley Reeve, Jackson Carman, they can really help this offensive line. I don't really know who they have at running back either. So forgive me, Bengals fans. I'm not as
they got rid of Bernard, Giovanni Bernard. They got rid of
Giovanni Bernard. Yeah. I remember him. And so, that we'll see.
And they got the other guy. I forget his name. Other than I'll be nice. There's
I know
things
they
he
got
did
Chris
in college.
Evans. I know they got Chris Evans.
Their other running back. There's things he did in college wasn't very nice.
Absolutely. So the Bengals could go again. The Bengals could go nowhere but up. But here's their schedule as we get ready to finish off the show. They start off home against Minnesota, at Chicago, then week 3 at Pittsburgh. That's going to be probably a test for them. Then the game, I cannot believe I'm saying this is a game I'm looking forward to. They're home against Jacksonville Thursday Night Football, but mainly it's because it's Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
The last 2 number 1 picks. That's all I want to see, really, to be honest. Clemson versus LSU all over again. That's basically what it is with that. Then they're home against Green Bay, at Detroit week 6. Week 7, Baltimore, at Baltimore. I think we could mark that as a win for the Ravens. Sorry, y'all. Week 8 in New York against the Jets. Week 9, Cleveland at home. Week 10, they get a bye. So they do get a bye at a pretty nice time at week 10. Week 11, they're at the Raiders in Sin City. Week 12, home against Pittsburgh. Week 13, home against the Rams. Then they're home against San Francisco. So it looks like the AFC North, there's a stretch where they get 3 straight home games.
Right.
Week 15 at Denver. So that's going to be difficult at Mile High, even though Denver is probably not going to be very good. Even though they do, they have I believe they have Teddy Bridgewater out there with Drew Lock. Week 16, Baltimore again. This time they're at home. We'll see where they are in the standings at the time. Then they're versus Kansas City and at Cleveland to end the year. So the Bengals, is there any hope for them?
In winning division, no. They're not going to win the division. They're not even going to go to the playoffs, but I can see them as the spoiler team.
Yeah, and just with the Bengals,
because that schedule right there, they can win some games. Once again, offensive line holds up. Yeah, they're playing the Jets. They're playing Jacksonville. They're playing Detroit. Yeah, they should beat them.
I
With Joe
agree.
Burrow, yeah, they should beat them. It just
And that's the thing I'm thinking is that you just want to see some improvement. You just
right.
want to see some improvement, them taking the next steps up. My friend was telling me, he was like, get us a winning season, get, 9 or 10 wins. I'm like, no, I'm like, oh, whoa. Don't set your expectations way too high. I'm
No.
just saying they need to win a few games. Win, instead of winning only 2 or 3 games, maybe get to about 6 or 7 wins.
That's why I was
Get
thinking
there.
six.
Get
Six.
to 6 or 7 wins. At least improve a bit. You're not gonna do what Mike Mularkey did with the Tennessee Titans years ago. We were 3-13. Next thing you know, we're 9-7. You're not,
Right.
maybe not that meteoric type of rise, but if you go from say 2-14 to maybe let's just say 6-11, or you go 7-10 or something like that, then you're seeing some growth. You're seeing some progress as far as that is concerned. Win a few more games, get up there, and there could be some potential. There could be some potential for some wins there with Cincinnati as long as Joe Burrow stays upright. I do agree with that in your notion on it. But
I'm
I look
thinking
forward.
I'm thinking more 6-11, like I said. But if that offensive line holds up throughout the entire season, if Joe Burrow can still play, like I said, they're a potential spoiler team, and we're one of those last games. We better not take them lightly, even though we've beaten them up the last couple of times.
I agree.
Because
You
we're
know,
gonna have to try to get a playoff and win it, or to better get to win the division.
I mean, I will say this: unless you're Kansas City or Tampa Bay, and you can't take no team lightly. No
Right.
one can take any team lightly. I say that all the time. Some, people
Right.
will talk with the Titans and things like that. Saying, yeah, we should win this game. We should win this game. No, we haven't earned the respect to take anybody lightly. We haven't earned that right. You
I'm the
know,
type. I'm the type. Like, to me, Houston's the bottom of the barrel right now, and they may even be worse if Watson's not going to play. I don't think. I think they're, even if he doesn't have any trouble with the law, I got a feeling the NFL is going to suspend him.
yeah, and I think he still wants out of Houston
Right,
too.
because that's the other thing, and just but you still can't take them lightly. Especially your team got to play
No,
them twice a year. We don't play
exactly.
them this year. You can't take any team lightly. Not in the NFL. It's not like Alabama playing what's the matter with you, or whatever, the
Right.
easy
Exactly.
team that they play once a year,
Mm-hmm.
so they can please their fan base.
Exactly. Yeah, and like I said, as a Titan fan, I can't take, with Houston, yeah, can't take them lightly at all. Jacksonville, we can't take them lightly either. They're rebuilding with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and Urban Myers down there. And oh my God, Tebow Mania. Don't even know why that's even going on. Why does
Well,
that
I'm
even
going.
exist?
Okay. When I do my seamless self promotion, I'll mention about that.
Exactly. But
One
that's a
question I want to ask you before we leave about
yes.
with your team. What do you think Carson Wentz? Because I think with that offensive line, they're going to give you plenty of trouble.
You know what? And that is the only exception to this rule because even with Phillip Rivers last year, Phillip Rivers was a shell of himself, but he had a
Right.
nice offensive line in front of him to kind of help him with that. And, the Colts, they definitely, I don't think they handled the offensive line, especially at left tackle, particularly great because I thought they had an opportunity in the draft. And I just, to go, and I think they got Eric Fisher. So they got him at left tackle. Don't know how good he's going to be or anything coming off of injury, but Carson Wentz might throw us a few. Even if you have a great offensive
Okay.
line, if you can't throw worth a darn, then it doesn't matter what great offensive line you have. If you can't throw to your receivers, he'll have better protection. But I just I think the Colts, I don't fear them. I don't fear
Okay.
that offensive line like I used to
Okay.
because Jeffrey Simmons and Quentin Nelson have had some battles, and there's some good ones. And there are some times where Jeffrey Simmons just bulldozes Quentin Nelson, who is supposed to arguably be one of the best offensive linemen in the league. And Jeffrey Simmons has messed with him. Now, again, Good offensive line, but Carson Wentz doesn't make them a Super Bowl contender. They are going to be a thorn in our side all the way, without a doubt. But I'm not scared of Carson Wentz at all. I think he's good, but I'm not scared of him.
Okay.
Not even a little bit.
That's an interesting take to hear because, I think with Wentz is a lot of potential in him, and I think the Eagles didn't do a good job of using him right. But we'll see.
Now,
like I said, I mean,
Now I will say with the Colts, I like the weapons. I like a couple of weapons that they do have with Michael Pittman. I like him a lot. I liked him coming out of USC. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is only going to get better as a running back. He's going to be a monster to deal with. And, right now, the Colts are in preliminary talks on extending Darius Leonard. We know Darius Leonard is one heck of a linebacker. And with DeForest Buckner, they picked up Kwity Paye and, in the draft and things like that. So Colts defensively is going to be still good. They're still a good football team. Really good football team, without a doubt. So it's going to be interesting. I think we'll split with the Colts down the stretch. I think, in my opinion, I think we win one of two with them. We'll see where that goes with that. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be some good matchups there, without a doubt. But where can everybody find your content, Ravens fans and other fans alike? Where can they find you?
We are at Ravens RedZone. We have been doing a lot since the season, but I'm planning on, at least for me, right now I don't know about my brother because he has some personal issues right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to start doing like a once a week video until once training camp starts, then we start putting a lot of out videos and stuff.
Got it.
But right now I'll be doing like once a week, like next week. I'll be doing on Wednesdays. I'll be doing like maybe type of videos. I'll put a link in or I'll use a StreamYard and see if you want to come on in and talk, or anyone else. And
be a pleasure.
And I'm gonna talk about TiVo, and I have an interesting take on it that I haven't heard anyone else say. Let's just say that'll be Wednesday. I'll do it around 8:00. Okay. That Eastern Standard Time. That would be 7 yours. So, yeah. So I'll do it around 8:00, and like I said, I have a very interesting take on Tim Tebow.
I agree. I don't think, and I'll just give my quick take. I honestly don't think Tebow makes the week 1 roster, in my opinion. Right. I don't see that happening. I think, he tries out and then he goes back to television. That's just my take. That's just my take on it. Right. I don't think he makes the team.
Okay.
But Mr. RedZone, it has been a privilege. It has been an honor. Thank you for coming on with us. And everybody, again, make sure y'all follow Ravens RedZone. Make sure you follow him. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll be bringing out more content as more times come on. So, AFC North, it's going to be fun.
I'll make some suggestions for you for some AFC North video makers. Crazy Dog 99 and Steel Maiden. Okay, one's a Steeler, one's a Brown fan.
We'll have to do that.
Fans, I don't know too many of them. I don't know. Maybe you could get your brother on there and talk to them.
Maybe I could, but that might be nice to have a little, maybe a little small prediction show later for the AFC North. Maybe have a little round table discussion. That might be something that can happen. I can see that. I could definitely see that. We might have to put that in the works. But I thank you again for coming on. Thank everybody for tuning in.
Anytime you want me to come on, I'll be ready.
Absolutely. And I thank you again for working with me. Thank you all for attending to the Truth League Report. I'm your man, Chris, Blue Enforcer. He is Ravens RedZone. Y'all have yourselves a heck of a good night. And, football is on its way back. Y'all have a good night.